Hi, my name's Savannah Austin. My public service announcement is how to create a strong password. Um, okay, so when you first create a username and password, this is the screen that you'll usually see. It says between 10 and 14 characters contains at least one letter and one number. There are no spaces and does not contain more than three characters that are sequential or right next to each other on a keyboard like A, B, C, D, QWERTY, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it doesn't repeat words. Generally, it also asks that you don't have words. But why do we do this? Why are these things that are important? Why is this something that we want to do? For one, a good password will secure your personal information for like your bank or your email or sometimes even for your tax information with the government. They do all that stuff online now, so it's not generally something you want other people to have or be able to get into. It also, a strong password will verify that the person entering the site is in fact you and it's not just somebody who's going to change your information up or steal all your money. It's also much easier to create a strong password than it is to deal with someone who has hacked you because you didn't or because you didn't have a password to begin with. It's much more of a hassle to have to deal with your credit card company or your bank and prove to them that you're not just hiding money, someone actually stole it from you. And the first step of doing that is creating a strong password. Um, so how do you do it? What are some of the important tips? For one, don't be afraid to change it up. Don't be afraid to change it up every 2 to 3 weeks. Which password you use, what it says, how it's structured, right? Or also, don't be afraid to change it up from site to site, from this site to that site. Maybe don't have the same password because if you have the same password for all five of your bank accounts, they get into one, they get into all, and they've stolen all of your money. Which I don't know about you. I don't want that to happen. So another thing is to add more characters, including symbols like the dollar sign or an exclamation point. And then also, if you're given the option, turn on multi-factor authentication. If you're logging in from a new computer, from a new device, don't save it, but also have that service like Google send you a code that you have to enter in to prove that the person who is doing this is in fact you because you also have the code and it's not just some person who's trying to get into all your accounts. It also with banks you can do it where if your spending pattern is off or if you are in a different state than they think you should be in, they will put a hold on your account and call you and make sure that you're the person spending the money. And so if you can turn those functions or options on, do it. It's generally for the better and not for the worse. Because if it is really you, you can answer those questions quite easily. Try to avoid security questions though, because generally security questions are things that come up in conversation, like your dog's name or the state that you grew up in, the city that you grew up in, your first job. That's all stuff that you know. But you can use security questions if you feel like you want to make up some answers. If you want a fake question or a fake answer to a real question, say your dog's name is Max, but you say that their name is Cheez It for your security question. Generally, people who know you or people who know about you or can even just see your Facebook page will enter the name of your actual dog and not the fictional dog that you've made up. So the only person, hopefully, that would know the answer to that question is you. You are the only person who knows your fictional dog's name is Cheez It. But so, unless you want to do that, generally avoid those things. Also, avoid common phrases or common password tropes like password or 1234 or anything that you could possibly think would be a common thing that is used for a password. If you're trying to think about what an 80-year-old would use as a password, maybe don't use that. Being sentimental, kind of going along with that, doesn't always help. It's great that you love your kids, it's great that you love your wives or your husbands or your dog, but maybe don't use their birthday because, again, if people know you, they probably know this information. Again, you're probably going to want to avoid anything that like you can just freely give out with without realizing that you've given it out because you don't generally want to just freely give away all your information or your bank stuff. But why do we do these things? One of the reasons why is the way that passwords are encrypted um, allows for exponential growth when you add different combinations, right? If you add more spots, then it means that there are more ways that the numbers can be mixed in what order. And then if you add more symbols on top of adding more spots, like if you make it longer with more symbols, you're adding not only more combinations in the order of what was there could be now, but also you're adding new possibilities for new characters to go in different places. So it'll exponentially grow and make it that much more difficult for a computer or even a person to hack into. Symbols and numbers, again, like I said, make it harder for computers to make those guesses. And then also, it's important to note that it's not just some person sitting behind a computer typing in endless numbers of passwords or how to get through into your information, but it's a computer system that is designed specifically to get into your stuff. So if you make it harder for that computer system to get into it, they're less likely to actually successfully get into it, especially if you're changing your password up day to day, or not day to day, that's a little excessive, but like week to week, every other week, every 2 weeks, something like that. Don't make it easy for people to rob you. If you make it easy for them to rob you, then that's no good. So in conclusion, really important that you change your password up from site to site, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks. Make them long. Use different characters. Usually that'll make it harder for computer systems to break into them. And then avoid sentimentality. Don't name it after your dog. Don't use password. Don't put dates that people that maybe don't know you but could hack into your Facebook account from someone else's, or even just see your Facebook account because it's not private. Could just guess and get into your information. That is all.